For those who are new to the video, be prepared to spend roughly 45 minutes with me. I try to make my videos shorter, but it just be a lot to get in. Sorry for my hair being a mess. I don't know, like, it never, I can never do a video where my hair starts out the way that it looked when I did it. It always ends in a mess, so one of these days, I guess I'll get it together. But we are on Book of Romans, and I am going backwards. I started at Revelations, and I'm working my way to Genesis. So if you're new here, I highly suggest you go look at my other videos first, where I started at Revelations, and now I'm on to Book of Romans. So here we go. Chapter 9 and chapter 10. So I highly suggest that you get your Bibles out and follow along with me. And how I do my notes is sometimes I may write word for word, sometimes I paraphrase to make it shorter, to get the point across quicker. But if you follow along with me, you'll know, like, where I'm at. And the version of the Bible I use is New International Version. And that's just because, to me, it's easier to read. I guess the King James Version would be the better version because it's less translated. I do like that version, but for the sake of my videos, I think I'm going to stick with the New International Version because it's easier for me to, I can explain it quicker, you know, instead of, trying to explain, thee and thou to, people who don't, know that language. So, let's begin. Book of Romans, chapter 9. Paul says he wishes he were cursed and cut off from Yeshua for the sake of his people, Israel. He says because the adoption to sonship, the divine glory, the covenants, the receiving of the law, temple worship, and the promises all belong to Israel, the people of Israel. Yeshua's human ancestry is traced from the patriarchs of Israel, meaning the males of Israel. Yeshua, who is God over all and forever praised. Amen. Paul says, not all descendants from Israel are Israel. Not all Abraham's descendants are his children. Children of God are not through a physical descent, not human bloodline. God's children are through the promise, who are regarded as Abraham's offspring. Basically, Abraham's children are of spiritual descent, not physical. And that's where the Pharisees at the time, didn't understand what Yeshua was saying, which we'll get to that part when we get to the part of where Jesus is talking. But there's one, some of you may know what scripture I'm talking about, but there's one part in the scripture where Yeshua is, like going off on the Pharisees, because the Pharisee, that was getting on his nerves, calling him the devil, saying he was drunk, and all of that. And so Jesus, you know, who is God and human at the same time at this point, you know, he was getting frustrated with them. And, you know, so he went back off on them. And he was letting them know, like, no, because they were saying they were children of Abraham. And he says, no, you're not. Because if you were, you'll know who I am. He told them that their father was Satan because it wasn't Abraham. But what they wasn't understanding is they may was like physical bloodline from Abraham, but they was not his child spiritually. And spiritually is what matters. Spiritually, it matters who your father is. You know, I mean, your father could be any human on the face of this earth. It ain't gonna get you nowhere in heaven. Who you need to, you know, focus on and understand that your father has to be a spiritual father. And you, you know, better hope and pray that your father is God and not the devil, you know. However, I'm more than sure people who are children of the devil know who they are, you know. May not want to admit it, but anyway, they're all about trickery anyway, so they'll tell you that they father is God, but they know what their real father is, you know. But let's go on. Paul continues to say, God has mercy on who he chooses. He hardens who he desires. All is said according to his perfect will and timing for even those who he hardens. But even those, Paul says, all is said according to his perfect will and timing for even those who he hardens will have no choice but to acknowledge that God is God, Alpha and Omega, when he is done with them. So, Paul's like, even if God hardens this person's heart, you know, you may say, well, why is God doing that? You know, God can do what he wants to, you know. And usually he does it for a reason. It's not for spitefulness. It's not in an evil way. If he hardens someone's heart, it's because probably they don't belong to him. And like spiritually, they don't belong to him. Or it could be teaching them a lesson, you know, because life is all about lessons. Could be either or could be another reason, you know. But God hardens people's heart. Whoever heart he wants to harden, like that is up to God's discretion. That is, you know, he knows what he's doing. You know, he don't need our approval on who heart he hardens and who heart he doesn't harden. You know, he knows what he's doing. He knows why he's doing it. And God is not evil. So if he's doing this for a good purpose, for a good reason, for a good cause. That's all you need to really know about that. And but Paul was saying even those hearts that he hardened, in the end, they got no choice but to recognize who he is. They can deny him all they want to, but in the end, we all gotta face that last day. So, and on that last day, who you gonna meet? Your creator. So all those people who was, you know, decided they didn't want to believe in God, or they'd rather believe in the universe, or they'll believe in everything but God, you know, in the end, they're going to have to acknowledge that God is God. He is Alpha and Omega. He is the beginning and the end. He created all. And, you know, they was foolish for worshiping his creations when he told them to worship him, not his creations. And it would make more sense to worship the creator, not the creations. But some people don't think that way, you know. And it can mess him up. Paul continues to say, and I also want to backtrack a little when Paul was, he was like giving praise to Israel, saying, that, everything belongs to Israel. Ooh, excuse me, I burped. He was saying that everything belongs to Israel. And what he was saying is like, people think Israel is a particular country or race or culture. What Paul was saying is not none of that. It's your spirit. Because your spirit, what people don't understand, your spirit is not a race, it is not a culture. It is. Why my TV just to that was weird. My TV just turned on by itself. It did that yesterday. That was kind of weird. But okay. Let's continue. What I'm getting my train of thought back. But what Paul was saying is that Israel is not this. It's not your flesh. It's not my color. It's not this. Our spirits look totally different than our physical appearance now. Like, my spirit looks totally different than what you're looking at right now. And so do yours. And so Paul was just letting them know, like, Israel is when he say that everything belongs to Israel, he's talking about the people that are spiritually descended from Israel, not physically. But let's continue. If you have questions, comment below. Paul continues to say, people who are not God's will be God's people. God says, I will call them my people who are not my people. I will call her my loved one who is not my loved one. So God is saying that even the people who don't belong to him spiritually, he's going to make them his people too. Because the original people he had set didn't appreciate him, didn't appreciate what he was doing for them. So he's going to call in people that don't even belong to him, to be his people as well. So in a way, it's kind of to make his original people be a little bit jealous, but he's also is calling in people who don't belong to him spiritually, that's going to also be joined in with the original people of Israel spiritually, not physically, because this dies. The spirit is totally different element. It's totally different energies. It's just totally different, God says, in the very place where it is said to them, you are not my people, there they will be called children of the living God. So God is like, look, people that don't even know who I am is going to know who I am. And they're going to be my people. because the goodness I had from my original people, they didn't appreciate it. They went worshiping demons, you know, and praising demons for stuff I was giving them and blessing them with, you know. So God was like, you know what, yeah, so they want to try to make me jealous, well, I'm going to make them jealous. And I'm going to call in people who don't even belong to me to be my children, and I'm going to bless them right in front of them, you know. So it's like, you know, God, I like his style. You know, God is like, look, you know, you can't make me jealous because I created you. But if you want to play this game, we're going to play this game. But guess who's going to win this game? God. Paul continues to say, though the Israelites be many, only a remnant will be saved. God will carry out his sentence on earth quickly and finality. Remnant means a small remaining quantity of something. So let's just say the back of this book cover is the Israel, our whole Israel. So only a remnant is going to be saved. So a remnant would be this little corner right here on the side. This the remnant of people that's going to be saved. Because all of this is Israel. But only this little corner right here is going to be saved. Because only this little amount of people is actually going to do the right thing and obey God. Ain't that something? You would think more people would obey God, but, you know, people just want to do their own thing. But there's consequences for wanting to do your own thing, you know. If you don't obey God, you don't understand what's out here. The the spirits and the demons and the things that are out there that are waiting to attack you just because you belong to God. They know you belong to God. But if you don't know who you are, and if you don't know that you belong to God, and you're out here doing all of these things that you're not supposed to be doing, you're opening up a door to something that will keep you in a hell you don't want to be in. You know? Obey God. It may be hard because the flesh is always going to resist, as we talked about in previous chapters. The flesh is always going to resist the right thing. It's going to resist God. It's always going to be that's just how it is, you know. It's going to resist. It's going to be hard. But you got to remember that the flesh don't control you, and you're not a slave to it. I don't care how strong it may seem to be, you're not a slave to anything unless you think you are. Unless you've been tricked into thinking you are. And demons, evil spirits, they want you to go where they going. They want you to go to hell where they going. So they're going to trick you into thinking all kind of wrong things. But at the end of the day, you got to learn to obey God. And know that God will never tell you to do anything wrong. He will never tell you to hurt anyone. He will never tell you to hurt yourself. If something is telling you that it's not God, rebuke it in the name of Yeshua and keep rebuking it until it get away from you. You stand your ground in God. Even if you got to rebuke it 100 times, you keep rebuking it and stand your ground against whatever negative entity or energy that is that's trying to keep you in, a hell, It's trying to keep you miserable, unhappy. Those are the workings of evil spirits. But you have to obey God. Once you learn to obey God, the easier it'll be for you to resist and fight off those bad guys, But yeah, so that what a remnant is. And finality, God said he would carry out his sentence on earth quickly, and a finality. So people think this is going to be a long, drawn out process. God like, nope. When he decided to come back, it's going to be quick, and it's going to be final. He said, God said, I will carry out. They said God would carry out his sentence on earth quickly, and finality. Finality meaning an irreversible ending, no turning back. So it's final. When God decides to come back, and change the earth back into Eden, it's gonna be quick. It's gonna be final. It's not gonna be a long, drawn out process like people think it's gonna be. That's not what it says in the Bible. It says his sentence is going to be quick and final. Paul continues to say the Gentiles has obtained righteousness by faith. And we all know Gentiles are non-Jews. And if you don't know, Jews is not this. It's not my color. It's not my nationality. It's who you are spiritually. Because a Jew is a religion. Anybody can pick up that religion, and if you obey that religion, then that becomes who you are. I mean, if you're going to obey any religion, I would suggest, that religion. Because, well, no, I kind of take that back because of what they did, there's a lot of curses in there that they didn't even recognize was curses. And it was just doing for example, the laws of Moses. Well, I want to say not all the laws of Moses, but when God told the people to do 600 and something laws, he knew they was not going to be able to do that. It was the curse because of what they decided to do when they turned against them and started worshiping calves and gold and other cultures' gods. But being a Jew, being an Israelite is not really a white or black thing. It's a spiritual thing. So this is what the Bible is telling you. But you have a lot of people who don't understand spirituality, and they're stuck on the physical thing.
And this handy hook to hang it up for a jump start or stand it up to fix a flat. Perfect for your truck or RV. Listen, roadside accidents are the leading cause of death for people under 55 in the United States.
How's the TV turning on by itself? Y'all.
Only $9.99, only through this special offer. We'll even ship.
Okay, let me turn it off again. I don't know if my brother got something hooked up in here and he's trying to spook us or what, but come on now, it's kind of weird. Like the second time that happened. Well, this is the third time because it happened yesterday. And then it happened a few minutes ago. And then just happened just now. So, I don't know. Whatever, if it's the evil spirit, get up out here and say, I rebuke you in the name of Yeshua. Don't be turning on my TV while I'm trying to teach people about the Lord. Now, let's continue. So, the Gentiles are non-Jews. The Gentiles has obtained righteousness by faith, is what Paul says. The Jews think they can get righteousness by works and not faith. That's why the Jews have not obtained it yet. You can only receive righteousness through faith and not by works. This is what Paul says. So he's saying you get righteousness because of what you believe, your faith, your belief in God. It has nothing to do with what you do or your deeds or good deeds or whatever. It has nothing to do with that. It's your belief in your faith in God. My little chihuahua just getting on my nerves because he's just up under me whining because he wants me to go to bed. He'll do this all the way up until I go to bed. And then when I go to bed, then he'll go fluff up his pillow and then be quiet. So if you hear whining, that's my chihuahua, Sparky. He's being a baby. He wants me to go to bed when he goes to bed. Animals. But anyway, let's move on to chapter. Now we're on chapter 10. Paul says Jews are jealous for God, but it is not based on knowledge. Zealous with a Z, meaning filled with or showing a strong and energetic desire to get something done or see something succeed. So Paul is saying like the Jews are very jealous. They're very, passionate for God, but it's not based on knowledge. This is what he said. Paul says they sought to establish, he's saying the Jews, sought to establish their own righteousness instead of submitting to God's righteousness. Yeshua is the culmination of the law. So there may be righteousness for everyone who believes. Culmination, meaning the highest or climatic point of something, especially as attained after a long time. So Yeshua is the climatic point in the movie, in the scene that is of the law. He's the dramatic part of the law. To make it so that everyone who believes can share in the righteousness of God. Not just for certain people, not just for certain cultures. He is saying this is for everyone who believes and obeys him. Yeshua and Yahweh. Paul says, do not say in your heart, who will ascend into heaven to bring Yeshua down? Or descend into the deep to bring Yeshua up from the dead? The word is in your mouths and hearts. The word is Yeshua. Paul says, if you declare with your mouth Yeshua is Lord and believe in your heart God has raised Yeshua from the dead, you will be saved. It is with your heart you believe and are justified. It is with your mouth you profess your faith and are saved. Profess means to declare or admit openly or freely your faith. Paul says, anyone who believes in Yeshua will never be put to shame. There is no difference between Jew and Gentile. There is no difference between Jew and non-Jew. God is the same God over all and richly blesses all who call on him, because all who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. How beautiful the feet of those who bring good news, talking about God. Now all the Israelites accepted the good news. That's why Moses said, I will make you envious by those who are not a nation. I will make you angry by a nation that has no understanding. That's deep. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying before, the Israelites had made God, mad, and they had made him jealous. And so God is like, okay, so, well, now it's my turn, I'm going to make you jealous now. I'm going to bring in people who don't belong to me, who don't even know me or understand me, and they are going to be put on a higher pedestal. Well, he didn't say higher pedestal, but he said, but they're going to be just like you now, So what do you think about that? And Paul says, Isaiah says, I was found by those who did not seek me. I revealed myself to those who did not ask for me. God says to Israel, all day long, I have held my hands to a disobedient and obstinate people. Obstinate, meaning stubborn, refusing to change one's opinion or chosen. Oh, well, yes, position. I don't know what I wrote. Opposite meaning stubbornly refusing to change one opinion or position, view, whatever they think. So that's the end of the chapter 10, But yeah, that's very interesting, and it is something to think about, God is a jealous God. He said that he was a jealous God, and he didn't like that the original Israelites that he had chosen had turned on him. He didn't, and so he wanted to make them jealous, and he did make them jealous, because they didn't want to accept Gentiles. For a long time they fought, with even accepting Gentiles, non-Jews. But Jesus came to let them know, like, I accept them, and I'm God. So now you have to accept them too. It wouldn't have been that way had you not turned against me, But since you turned against me, now you got to accept some more people. Come on. There's some more people coming in and be your sister and be your brothers, So come on, we got to sell people now. And so now it's everybody, Anybody who believes it will be accepted into the kingdom. If you believe and you obey God, you will be accepted into the kingdom of heaven. That is pretty much that chapter 9 and 10 in a nutshell, you will be saved. So that's it for now. I made it 35 minutes, yeah. That's actually less, because normally it'd be like 40 minutes. I think the longest Bible study video I did was like 50 minutes. And I really didn't want to go that long because I know I know my attention span is not that long. And I really have to work on that when doing a video like this, because my mind will go somewhere else. So when I do videos, that's why it may be a long time in between when I do videos, because of my attention span. My attention span is not that long either. So even if you have to pause and come back to the video, just as long as you get the message, in the word, and it inspires you and motivates you to continue to believe in God and have faith in God. Look, I did my job there, I did what I'm supposed to do. And you don't have to listen to the whole, I would suggest you listen to the whole video. But if you can't do it all at one time, that's fine. Listen to like 5 minutes, 10 minutes here or there, until you get time to listen to the whole video, and take notes and comment and talk and discuss with me what is on your mind. Is there something I said that resonates with you? Is there something I said that you don't agree with? Let me know, However, keep it positive, because I don't accept negativity. I don't accept anything negative or demonic. But if you have constructive criticism, you don't have to agree with me. If you have your opinion, I accept your opinion. It does not have to, be what mine is. But when I'm reading from the Bible, it's not my opinion. That is knowledge, spiritual knowledge I'm laying on you. And I hope you take it and pray on it and ask God about it, and he'll let you know. He'll let you know. Do you keep listening or don't? Or do you stop listening, But I hope you continue to listen, and I hope that I inspire you to keep believing in God and keep obeying him. Don't try, to be like the world. The world is decaying, it's dying, it fades away. It's not going to be here forever. What's here today will be gone tomorrow. But God is forever, and he's eternal. And if you believe in God and you obey him, you will be eternal too. You won't fade away with the world. You'll be eternal with God. So that's something to work towards. If you're not there yet spiritually, work towards it. You got to. Apparently God giving you time. So if God giving you time, don't waste that time. Work towards making yourself spiritually better, mentally, emotionally better, so that whenever, that time, is up for you, you going to heaven. There's no doubt in your mind. Okay, this is going to be Jesus. Because if we all gotta go there. We all gotta cross that route. We all gotta cross that bridge. And someone said a long time ago, but it's a good saying. I'd rather, like, people want to say, they want to call you foolish for believing in God and obeying God. But I'd rather live my life believing in God and obeying God. And whenever I, die, if he ain't real, then, what do I have to lose? But if we're right, and I know we are, people that believe in God, you know, we have everything to gain and nothing to lose in believing in God and obeying Him, because even in the land of the enemy, bad situation, you will be blessed beyond compare. So it's not a bad thing to believe in God. It's not a bad thing to obey Him. So do it. If you can listen to the world and obey the world, and they don't know what they're talking about, you can listen to and obey God. He knows what He's talking about. He created everything. So that's the end of this video. Hope it inspired you. Peace, love, and hair grease. Because I need some hair grease on my ear, y'all. Pray for my hair.